The next part of our story begins. The new chapter now at Willingham Hall. So now every great story has a turning point, the moment when a little dream becomes something real, something bigger than anyone could have ever imagined. And for David, the moment was when he got his first real business home at Willingham Hall near Market Rasen. It wasn't perfect by far, but it was a start. It was a new beginning. He found a warehouse space to rent. It was big, echoing, and very rough around the edges. Down one side, there was a narrow strip of land, barely wide enough for anything, but David saw potential in everything. Before long, the slim slither of ground became home to 8 small greenhouses, each one soon bursting with life, and we created walls to try to section certain areas off inside the warehouse. The inside of the warehouse, though, well, it was enormous. The girls, when they first saw it, their eyes went wide with wonder. "We could fit a bouncy castle in here," they cried. And they did too, come the summer holidays. The first summer, the warehouse was as much of a playground as it was a workplace, filled with the laughter and tiny feet running around, bouncing. They also had lots of gym equipment within there. But once the excitement had settled, the real work began. David had to take on staff to help, kind, hard-working staff who'd learned to bunch oxygenators, reading and fulfilling orders, packaging and maintaining plants, the care for delicate aquarium plants. Orders kept pouring in from customers all over the country, each one wanting a little piece of greenery for their ponds and their aquariums. The days seemed to shrink and the nights were never long enough. There were websites to design, photos to take. I'd only just taken up doing photography. Listings to be uploaded to eBay and now Amazon. Emails to answer, orders to print, parcels to pack, and of course endless plants to water, trim and sort. And in the narrow row of polytunnels beside the warehouse, we even managed to create a little shop so that the locals could pop in and buy their plants in person. But there was one big problem. The warehouse, wonderful as it was, didn't have much natural light. Plants need sunlight as much as they need air, and even with lamps and heaters, it was a struggle to make them thrive inside those 4 concrete walls. We tried putting plants into tanks of water with lights above the shelves. After all, it worked in the bedroom, but the warehouse was very cold, the air quite stale. We even tried putting a polytunnel inside the warehouse and using artificial lights, but that's had the same problems arise. Still, we carried on, orders continued to roll in, and the business just kept growing. By this time, I was teaching full-time computer programming, nothing to do with programming, nothing to do with plants at all, but needed to help. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, before heading off to college, I'd go across to Willingham Hall and help pick the plants, or bring fresh ones from the tunnels at home, having just had a list sent to me by Dave of the plants that would be needed for the orders for the next day. After all, it was still growing plants in the garden and in the bedroom at this time. Then off I'd go to teach all day, back in the evening to help, and on weekends we'd be helping doing packaging and preparing for the Monday. Dave worked all hours. Truly, I don't think he ever stopped. Even was roped in, sitting up late, answering customer messages, often with a cup of coffee going cold beside her. We were all working around the clock, driven by the shared dream to make our little family business into something lasting. Eventually, I made the decision myself to give up teaching job and to join Dave full-time at Willingham Hall. Birthday time, I wanted to give him something special, something that would push us out into the world. So I bought him a stand at Harrogate Flower Show for the autumn. There you go, I told him with a grin. There's no backing out now. We're going in September. Shows take a little planning, and Harrogate Flower Show was just the same. Our stand was outside, so we had to create a small display which would still be judged. I say these taking planning, as we did not really leave ourselves enough time. Off we went, plant, stand, all to show the people that we weren't just a name on the internet. We were a real family, hard-working, with muddy boots and full hearts. We're still building the stand at 10 o'clock at night in the evening by the headlights of the Luton. And do you know, it worked. People loved meeting the faces behind the business. They could see the passion that had gone into every plant and every root and every leaf. And we got a gold award for the best outside nursery. Amazing, as it was our first chance there. But as our little company continued to grow, it became clear that even Willingham Hall wasn't going to be big enough. We needed more space, a place where we could grow our own plants properly under real sunlight with room to breathe and expand. That's when Kaylee spoke up. You know, she said, I grew up in Brookenby and I know some people, and I'm sure on the RAF Binbrook in Brookenby there are some old buildings for rent. Maybe we should take a look. And so we did. When we arrived, it felt like stepping back into another world. The old RAF base stretched out before us, rows of weathered buildings, unkept lawns, the gentle whisper of history in the air. But it was the Nissenuts that caught our attention. Long, curved, full of potential, and flat for ponds. With a bit of imagination and a lot of elbow grease, they could be transformed into enormous polytunnels and perfect for growing. Of course, it wouldn't be easy. The place needed clearing, tin removing, tunnel skinning, fixing before it could be fit for people or plants. But if there's one thing this family never shied away from, it was hard work. And so that's where we leave it for now, on the brink of a new beginning. Because the story of how we turned these old RAF Nissen huts into thriving greenhouses is one you won't want to miss. See how we got on in the next instalment.